The real estate industry, as you know it, is dead. The way agents get clients, build brands, and get discovered is being rewritten in front of our eyes. And here's the brutal truth. If you don't adapt, you'll be invisible by 2026. But if you understand these shifts now, you can dominate while everyone else gets left behind. But here's the catch. It's not just about learning new tools. It's about unlearning old habits that are quietly killing your business. So let's start walking through the big shifts that are happening right now in order to future-proof your business. I'm going to take you through an entire journey of the multiple things that you need to do immediately if you want to have a long-term, scalable, thriving business, while others are going to be replaced or fall behind and probably leave the industry like 87% do. At the end, I'm also going to give you the exact formula of what to do immediately with everything that I'm about to walk you through right now. So this is a huge shift, and everybody online is talking who are very credible, intelligent people are talking about the fact that this is the biggest shift that we've ever seen, bigger than the internet itself, with the disruption of artificial intelligence. So we need to start there. And AI is reshaping absolutely everything when it comes to ads, search, and how buyers and sellers consume information. Let me tell you a story. My parents right now are in their 60s. Mom's turning 60 next year and dad is in his 60s. And they're planning a trip to Italy. They used artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, to plan their entire trip. My parents are the most technologically unsavvy people on the planet. Anything that's techie that they touch breaks every time, and it's a running joke in front of the family. But they used AI. And this is what's happening is now consumers are asking these platforms for resourceful responses in terms of who's the best agent to work with, what is the steps for selling a home, I'm relocating here, what is the information that I need to know. This is happening right now. And even with the advertising, you look at Meta ads, you look at Google ads, they're integrating artificial intelligence to better serve people who have the following steps that I'm going to walk you through. Now, I do have a complete video walking you through how to get ranked and recognized and recommended by AI. So if you want that video, just drop a comment below. We'll send it to you. But what do we need to do knowing that this disruption is happening in this very moment in time? AI rewards FAQ-style content that matches AI queries. So what does this mean? Well, lists and question Q&A type content is really credible and rewarded when it comes to searches on things like ChatGPT, Google AI overviews, which is now, instead of when you're typing something in Google, like the cost of living in Austin, instead of recommending all these different blogs by all these different realtors, it picks the best one, the most credible one, that leans into what it's looking for, and it submits that one, not multiple, one. You want to be the one. And again, the video shows you how to do that. But what's happening now is you look at FAQ style content. Why is that being, matching AI queries? Because all that artificial intelligence is in terms of the general public is a search engine, just a better, more immediate one. And FAQ is question and answers, right? Frequently asked questions. So what we need to do is start to use artificial intelligence to ask it, and I would recommend you do this with ChatGPT, ask it what are the most common questions by home buyers and home sellers in my market, and create videos, blogs, articles that address every single one of those common searches so that when people are searching for it in the future, yours can be pulled, especially if it's list format or Q&A style. And the list format goes very well. For example, 5 things you need to know before moving to Austin. The reason being is you can actually optimize each of those 5 things individually to be a question and answer. And that is where the game is won. Be on camera to build AI-proof trust. I've been harping this on the mountaintop for ages, and now it is undeniably the fact, which is the fact that AI cannot replace you. And if you start to build camera confidence and you start to get comfortable in front of the camera, this is going to allow you to build that AI-proof trust. So instead of people in the future going to ChatGPT or searching on Google or looking on Perplexity, they go to you and they say, hey, I've got a question about real estate. That's the person that I want to ask the question to. That's going to make sure, again, we'll talk about this later, but that's going to be the number one thing you can do to future-proof your business. But I do recommend using these AI tools to scale faster because it's going to create leverage. If you look at the data, the average agent that's actively using artificial intelligence generates 3 times more leads. They can do content in 80% less time. They also, per NAR, close on average about 25% more deals. And you also save on average about 10 hours per week. So when you start looking at that and you can spend 10 hours per week back into generating 3 times more leads and creating content in 80% less time, this closing of deals goes from 25%, could go for you to 250%. A massive difference. You cannot compete with people that are creating what is the most important part of AI in general, which is leverage. A lot of people aren't looking at this properly. They think AI is going to replace agents. No, agents using AI will replace those who don't because they can create leverage. AI allows you to alleviate all of these time-sucking, frustrating tasks that we hate doing as real estate agents, to go and spend more of that time and allocate it to what we love doing, which is building relationships and serving people and creating an impact. It's the best situation possible. Now, this is a huge one for agents. SEO is dying, radically changing, and most don't know what to do. And so the old SEO is like rank on page 1 of Google. And people would spend all this time and money on blogs and articles and all these things because Google was SEO in essence, and then YouTube as well because it's owned by Google. The new, which is GEO, which is Generative Engine Optimization, is one answer AI recommends. So instead of people looking at Google and looking at all these different articles by all these different people, browsing through them, spending endless time that they don't have, knowing time is the most precious commodity, it's just saying, here's the answer. No click response, right? 0-click response is what it's referred to because people don't have to click on anything. They look at the Google AI overview, or they get the response from ChatGPT. That's it, that's done. It saves time. You need to be the one that is recommending. So what do we need to do? Like we talked about before, create Q&A style blogs and videos. Video is king right now, and it forever will be. So is Austin a good place to live? Add timestamps and chapters. So this is really critical, and kind of like we talked about up in the beginning here, where I talked about for example, like lists and Q&A. If we come down here and we look at, there's a YouTube video up here, little YouTube video, play button. And then we look down here, you're going to have usually the title, then you're going to have the description. And then the description, you should have the timestamps. So what is the most important thing that you could do if you want to get recognized and ranked on SEO or GEO or AEO, which are all search? Well, each of these bullet points can be optimized for SEO, right? So if you create a video, for example, about the 5 things you need to know before moving to Austin, well, if you look at this, bullet point 1 could be the cost of living. Bullet point 2 could be the best neighborhoods. Bullet point 3 could be something related to, different lifestyle aspects to it, right? All of these are different common search queries that people are looking for. And now it's the timestamps of your video because it's the talking points of your video. This is going to, again, allow you to be optimized for AI extraction so that when people are searching on ChatGPT or even Google, what's going to happen is it's going to recommend maybe one of the timestamps, but thus your whole video, driving traffic back to you, which is going to be the biggest opportunity. FAQ sections, right, and descriptions and blogs, and optimize your Google business profile with niche keywords. You've heard it before, the riches and the niches. This is only going to continue to be the case because people are going to be searching for specialists instead of generalists. So finding out your niche, finding out your target avatar, getting clarity on that is going to be one of the most critical things you could do going forward, because people, again, are no longer going to value a generalist real estate agent. They're going to be looking for somebody who is the best man or woman for this, right? First-time home buyers, land and ranch, relocation, secondary home, waterfront property, golf, whatever. Prospecting. Let's get into this, because I know that this, I might get a bit of heat for this, but it's honestly, in my opinion, just the truth. Does prospecting still work today? 1,000%. Do I recommend it? 1,000%. So let's get that out of the way before I get a bunch of heat from people saying, Mike's saying that prospecting doesn't work. No, it does. And I have a lot of friends that are big coaches on YouTube that you probably follow that talk about prospecting, because it works. And if you want a media business today, it's probably the best way to get it. However, that will change. It's not going to be that way forever. So what I'm trying to get across here is that you don't want to put all of your eggs in that one basket forever. Let's talk about it. If you look at a lot of the updates that are happening to phones, Android and Apple, AI spam filters are blocking unknown numbers. So whenever you get a unsolicited call, instead of, my phone's over here, instead of you picking it up and having to answer this person's unknown number that just called, it will start to actually play the message out loud for you in terms of whatever their first introduction script was. And if you don't know that person or you don't want to listen to it, you no longer have to pick up. You can make a conscious decision to just say, nope, not interested. That is going to change prospecting forever. And anybody that doesn't understand that is not thinking logically. Things are going to change. Does it work today? Yes. Should you do it today? Yes. But I'm trying to future-proof your business. And what I'm saying is, don't put all of your eggs in that one basket. Also, if we take a look at this, door knocking, right? Obviously, there's safety risks, and also more HOA restrictions are having no solicitation culture. Does door knocking work? Yes, I did it every day for the first 3 or 6 months of my business, 3 hours a day, 7 days a week. It worked amazing. It got me 80% of my business's listings, but times are changing. And also, I'm not going to get political here or anything like that, but, there's a lot of chaos happening right now. And that's why, safety risks is a real thing, and less people are going to want to do it. So what do we need to start doing? Shift from interruption, which is going to be things like traditional prospecting, to attraction, which is going to be things like building your brand and generating the right type of content so that people come to you instead of you having to go out and get in front of people. Using YouTube as digital door knocking. When you put out a properly optimized YouTube video, it's what's referred to as evergreen. And what does evergreen mean? Evergreen means that if you do a properly optimized YouTube video, it lasts forever. And essentially, this means that it's pretty much door knocking and cold calling for you 24/7, 365. In your sleep, while you're traveling, while you're sick, while you're spending time with your family, doing anything that you enjoy. It gives you massive leverage, the thing that we continue to talk about. In the beginning, right, if you're going to be focusing on cold calling, right, look at FSBOs and expireds, which is going to be intent-driven if calling. And you can also see one of the best ways to door knock is going to be for event-driven reasons, so that it's less solicitational, more just value-driven, open house invites, things of the like. But again, these both still work today. But what I'm telling you is that in the future, they will continue to work less and less and less effectively as they do today. Brand is everything. This is so important. AI can create content, but it can't replicate you in the way that's going to connect with buyers and sellers. So what's going to happen with agents that don't build a personal brand and are relying entirely on AI to create content is they're going to have these amazing videos out there that look perfect, polished, incredible delivery, and are just dialed, right? Perfect, which is what everybody's looking for, which, by the way, doesn't exist. But what's going to happen is when they get to the appointment and they can't talk like that, they don't have the same tonality, they can't handle the objections, they're not using the same grammar that is as educated, it's going to immediately break trust, right? So you're going to break trust here with your clients and you're going to lose the client every single time. And that's why I recommend to start to get the repetitions in. Repetition is the mother of mastery. And if you start today and you start to get good at putting out video content, you're not going to need AI. And let me just explain this for a second, because nobody talks about this. And this is, I think, important for you to be, pretty much understand. People value imperfections. Human-to-human connection is imperfect, right? There's flaws. People value that. Let me give you two different examples. I drive a Lamborghini. It's imperfect. There's things wrong with it. It's handmade, but that's where the value comes from. If you look at women, for example, who like really nice handmade bags, there's some of the stitching is imperfect, right? You could see that it's not 100, like that's what people value. I've got a big live edge wood table in my basement and it's all the edges are imperfect. People value the imperfections. And everybody is thinking that they just want to use AI so that they can be perfect, when people in reality value the imperfections. They value the human element of it, the flaws, because it makes it genuine, relatable, and thus increases the value. And nobody's thinking about it that way. But personal brand is going to be the only differentiator left. If you don't build a brand, there's going to be no reason for people to reach out to you. This is going to be, and it's not just me talking about this. I think it's funny when people are like, oh, you talk about this and you've got, a reason to talk about it. Well, if you look at all the biggest names right now, you look at Alex Hormozi, you look at Gary Vee, and you look at maybe somebody like Dan Martell. All great people. This is the first time in history I've ever seen all different entrepreneurs in different lanes that have big brands all talking about one thing. And that one thing is that brand is going to be the only thing that is going to differentiate you in the era of artificial intelligence and future-proof your business. And that's why, again, I've spent over $1 million building my own personal brand. But you have access to using my entire elite team to build your personal brand in just 8 weeks. We'll take care of absolutely everything. We'll help you get recognized by artificial intelligence and position you as an authority. And we'll give you the exact roadmap of exactly what to do every single video, every time over the next 12 months in order to position yourself to dominate in this new era. And if you want to have a conversation with us about it, just click the link in the description. And again, people are going to say, oh, you've got a motive to talk about this. I built this service because nobody else was doing it properly. So I did it out of my own desire, my own demand, because nobody could do it for me. So we did it for me and, now over 1,000 other agents and like Suman Kim and all these other people that have coached, and it works incredible. So your brand identity, right? So the first is going to be your visuals. The next is going to be a signature content series so that people start to recognize you for something. Sharing the behind the scenes, the relatable side of things, genuine, authentic, raw, your personality. That's what people are going to connect with in this disruptive era. And making sure that you've got lead magnets, right? You've got assets that turn views into leads consistently. And this is what's going to, again, turn your brand into closings. And that's exactly what we do. So again, if you want help with that, you can just click the link in the description. Algorithm shifts. Platforms are now interest-based, not follower or intent-based. What does this mean? Engagement over vanity. Well, in the past, for example, if you had, 10,000 followers, whenever you made a post, you would get more views than somebody that had 1,000 followers. However, now what happens is all of the social media profiles and platforms, TikTok is the one that shifted this whole thing, is that none of these platforms care about the following size. It's completely irrelevant. What they care about is the quality of each individual piece of content. And that's why you could see somebody with 1,000 followers end up generating like 1 million views, and then somebody with 10,000 followers get 1,000 views. And this happens all the time because now it values the individual piece of content, which is what are people most interested in. And here's the cool part about that nobody's talking about is in the past, again, I've coached over 7,000 agents on how to use social media. In the past, when you look at your social media profiles, you more or less had to focus the majority of your content on real estate focused content because all of your posts are going to get served to your audience. However, now, if you look at, you've got real estate and maybe you've got cars and maybe you've got family and maybe you've got, mindset, or you've got all these different things, instead of serving it to your entire audience, all of the real estate content will go to people that are interested in real estate. All of the car videos will go to people interested in cars. All of the family content will go to other people that have interest in building a solid family. So now you can start to post the other things on your profile that allow people to get to know the real you, and it's going to get served to the right audience instead of your only entire audience. This is massive when it comes to building your personal brand, and this is what's happening. So what do you need to do? Well, we need to make sure that, again, searchability is at the forefront of everything so that you can get picked up on artificial intelligence and you can get picked up on Google AI overviews. Reply to comments. 2 hours is a bit of a rule of thumb, not a rule of law, meaning that you don't have to do this. And if you do it at 2 hours and 50 minutes, that everything's going to go, into the dumps here. All that it means is try and reply quickly because it shows you're engaged. And when these platforms know that you're actively engaged, they're going to promote your content more than other people. Encourage saves and shares. That's why this FAQ, Q&A, list focused content works very well because it's something that people would share with others, and it's also something that's very savable. And then here's another big thing. And in the video that I talked to you about that I walk you through exactly how to get recognized and ranked by artificial intelligence. What happens is artificial intelligence very much rewards omnipresence. And what omnipresence means is that you have an active presence across all platforms. Like, for example, you're on YouTube, you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you're on LinkedIn, you're on Facebook. And repurposing your content is one of the easiest ways to do that. If you're creating a short form video, post it on all the short form platforms, which is going to be YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook Reels. If you're creating long form content, well, post it on YouTube long form and also upload it natively to Facebook. And this is going to, again, show that you've got brand authority, omnipresent across multiple different platforms, and thus you're going to be able to thrive. So what is the new formula before I walk through how to future-proof your business? This is the biggest game changer that you need to be aware of. And I'll share a story with you that's going to prove this point. Short form is going to be for awareness. Long form is going to be for building trust and AI indexing, which is why, again, I think it's so funny when people say, Mike, you're just preaching YouTube because you've got a program on YouTube. I do YouTube and I create a program for YouTube because of how important it is. And I do it because of how impactful it is. And thus, I saw that people had the need, and so I created the solution for it. And if you want an entire free course to get started on YouTube, there's a link in the description. You can get access to it today for free. This is where the game is going to be won, which is not just long form, but also owned channels, which is going to be your email list. And the story I was going to share with you is that there was an agent recently that had previously 50,000 followers, and whenever they got married, they decided to cancel that, and now they're starting back from zero. But for me, my email list is the same size as my YouTube channel. And so if my YouTube channel or my Instagram disappeared tomorrow, I have an email list that could get started because I own the email list. You don't own the following on any of these platforms. And that's why for security of all of your hard work, all of your effort, one of the best things that you could do is build an email list because it's the only thing that you own. Tactical cadence. 2 to 3 shorts a week, like minimum. 1 YouTube video a week, minimum. And 1 email newsletter, which can promote the YouTube video, minimum. If you were to genuinely ask me if you're fully committed, all in, ready to pretty much take massive market share from complacent agents, what you really should be doing is doing like 5 to 7. So like every weekday or every week in general, shorts. 2 YouTube videos, which is your long form, and then far more email. Email, most people don't know this, has the highest return, historically proven based on data, you can go look it up, of any advertising or marketing platform ever. Massive return. And when it comes to building a long-term sustainable business, this gets you repeat and referral business. The most expensive clients to acquire, so meaning the most money, is new. The cheapest is repeat and referral. Why? Because you've already acquired them, you've nurtured them, and now it's 100% profit. And that's why you start to see any strong, successful agent long-term, they'll all tell you that they live by their sphere. And the reason being is because it's the most profitable way to do it. So what do you need to do to future-proof your business? We talked about this before, and you can book a call if you want support and help with this for us to just do it for you. Because again, I've invested over $1 million in my own personal brand, and we show you exactly how to do that for yourself. Your brand is going to be the most important part. Building your brand is everything right now. I can't stress this enough. Double down on hyper-local authority, which is going to be not the generalist, not just talking about real estate as a whole, but like being the most cliche thing is people say like be the local celebrity. Like you kind of want to do that. Like you want to be in the know of everything locally, the neighborhoods, the schools, the events that are happening. Like be the dominant hyper-local person because that's what artificial intelligence rewards. And remember, interruption-based prospecting is fading. I'm not saying that it's gone right now. I'm not saying that it doesn't work right now. I'm saying that if you look at data, if you look at what's happening in technology, it is undeniably fading, which means eventually if something continues to fade, it will shift forever. But attraction-based branding will continue to dominate, where people again are coming to you instead of you having to come to them. And the number one way to do that, as we talked about, is to build your personal brand, also having hyper-local content. And so to future-proof your business, the things that you need to do is brand and very specific, very tactical content. Because we talked about this, you can be consistent forever and still get nothing. Still have a struggling business. You have to be consistent with the right things, with a strategy, and that's what we help you do when we build your personal brand for you. But these are the 2 things that you need to be very mindful of going forward, especially video. And that's how you're going to future-proof your business. If you have any questions about this, drop a comment below. And if you want to see the entire video of how to rank on Google AI overview, as well as ChatGPT and all these other AI platforms, check out this next video.